So for this video, we will discuss on how to start sketching and creating 3D model using SolidWorks. So for this video, we will tackle on making a sketch and do boss extrude, revolve, sweep, and fillet. So basically, boss extrude, if you have this sketch, a rectangle, and you extrude it, you will have the boss extrude. And for the revolve, you only need the sketch and you need an axis of revolution and you will be able to create a revolve. And for the sweep, you need actually two sketches, which is you need the profile, which is, for example, here is a circle, and the path, which is where the profile will flow or propagate. So using the profile, which is the circle, and this one is a line, you will have this swept 3D model. Or for example, you also have this. So then the fillet is a basic feature that you will be able to also study. So first is we need to use this manual. We will be using this manual, SolidWorks 2013 CAD manual. So basically, even though it's 2013, but it has been useful to use this manual showing the basic concepts of 3D modeling using SolidWorks. So it has 5 chapters. So these 5 chapters will tell you of and discuss on sketching, adding dimensions. Chapter 2 will highlight on creating where to start and how to do extrude, boss, and cut feature. Chapter 3 will be on how to make controlling swept features and revolve features. While chapter 4 and chapter 5 is about using plane and reference geometry, fillet, and chapter 5 will be on rendering. But basically, we will tackle on the initial video on chapter 1 to 3 and up to the swept. Okay, so let's go to the manual. So for chapter 1, first is we have to understand how to make sketches using SolidWorks software. So first is in this chapter we'll be able to understand working with sketches using sketch toolbar and different kinds of sketches. So let's go to the SolidWorks. So I have this already open SolidWorks uh, software. So first is we have to go to the sketch toolbar. So using the sketch toolbar, we'll be able to sketch different kinds of sketch such as line, circle, rectangle, slots, circle, arcs, polygons, spline, ellipse, points, text, and you'll also be able to convert the entities and later we will be able to access offset entities and trim entities as well. So initially, in creating a sketch is we have to select first what units are we gonna use. Is it IPS, mmgs, CGS, or meter kilogram second? So if we have selected inch pound second, then we have to leave it as default. Then the second step will be is we have to select the plane. So initially we have three areas to start: front, top, right, and front plane. So in order to know where are you in the front plane, if you select the front plane and you only see the line, you're not in that plane. This one, if you see a rectangle as shown, the orange rectangle, you are in that plane. You are in the top plane. And you also see a right plane and you also only see a line, then you're not in that plane. So if you want to be on the right plane, you select normal too. But previously you have selected where will you start. So this one will define that you are in the you selected top plane as your sketch plane, first sketch plane. So this will be your initial plane. So when you started to sketch on that plane, so we'll be able to sketch already. So for example, uh, you need to sketch a line. So in line, you can create line, center line, and midpoint line. So let's try line. So it's always essential to start on the origin to make your drawing defined. So if your drawing is undefined, you see that there's a comment here under define. Okay, so if you want to define it, so since it's as a blue point already, so you have to put dimensions to define it. So when you insert that 2 inches, you'll be stated as fully defined here. So meaning that your sketch is already defined. But if you may want this line to be just a construction line, you could have an option, right click and select the construction geometry, and you make it a center line. There's also an option here, select for construction, and you make it solid line. You could apply that on line, circle, and other sketches. So let's create this as a line, a center line. Okay, so if you want to create a circle, this one, as you can see in the diagram, there's 2 points here. So the first point will be in the center and propagating to the other side. So this one guides you where to start. So SolidWorks has an all snap function wherein you could see if you're in the midpoint as shown here, just like in AutoCAD. So I'm creating the circle in the midpoint. So this one, as you can see, the circle propagate from 1 to 2. But if you're selected the perimeter circle, you need 3 points. 1, 2, 3. Okay? This is how the SolidWorks works. And as well in the rectangle, you will be guided where to start. Corner rectangle, center rectangle, 3-point corner rectangle, parallelogram. So depending on how you want your sketch to be. So for example, I select corner rectangle, so I will need to select 1, 2. Okay, so this one is my rectangle. And the slots, as shown here, is point to point. So select this one. So 1, 2. Alright. And the other will be just when you try to this one, select 1, 2, 3, and propagate. Okay, then you put dimensions. So let's try to put dimensions here. Smart dimension. Let's try 0.5. Okay. Then you want to put a polygon wherein you could specify the angle, the number of sides. Here is 3. Let's put 5. So I want to use 5. I want, okay. Then you have to put smart dimension here. Oops, that's so big. Then arc. So eventually you could make an arc. So we want to sketch as shown, different views. But actually, if you are already have a line here, you could also make an arc. So here is propagating a line, but if you return it, it will propagate an arc as a shortcut. Okay. Then trim entities. Usually, I only use power trim to cut the one that I don't want. For example, here, so just a warning. So just trim, trim, trim. I use power trim. If you want to delete this one, could delete that one. Okay, just the purpose of power trim. And I want to demonstrate the fillet and jumper. So fillet is just putting a radius. So for example, let's put a fillet here. As you can see here, putting a radius on your sketch. And sketch jumper, just you need an angle and distance or distance. So for example, you only use 0.25, 45 degrees. So it's not my model is does not pertain here, so you just use it. Because the distance is too big, so you just reduce it to 0.02. So this one, this is jumper, angle the distance, as you can see, the model. Okay, and put this as distance 0.02. If it's not agreeing, meaning that your dimensions is does not pertain or is not applicable to the current sketch part. Then sketch jumper 0 here, here. So that's the sketch jumper. Then offset entities, you just want another model. So for example, I want to offset here 0.01, then you have already offset the sketch. Then if your model is already true, then can create extrude, select a plane, sketch. Actually, if this one, if you selected the whole part or delete this one, just select on a certain area to propagate, then able to create this one. Then have edit the region, so delete this. Okay, so it has many options. So extrude can be controlled by blind or mid plane, for example, coming from the middle. I specify how thick is it. And going back to the manual, so let's go to the manual as stated in the manual. So using the sketch toolbar, so let's open a new part, sketch toolbar, sketch, select the front plane, and we have to draw a line, a corner, rectangle, or circle. So drawing a line, so first is let's draw a line, rectangle. So in making a line, specify the angle, example 45, and put the dimensions 3 inches. Then extrude, specify the thickness, for example 2, or you also select midplane. The other options could be done if we have multiple parts or we are in the assembly mode. Then you have your triangle and another part, new, then select a plane, then select a circle. Make sure you start from the origin and you have the proper dimensions to start with. Example 2.5, then 1, and that's it. And save circle. Then create another one, new, then about the corner rectangle. So make sure you specify the correct dimension to make it define as stated here, and you extrude, and you have your CAD model. I think that will be the chapter 1 coverage as shown here in the manual. Stated here the status bar and the dimensions. Okay, specify the dimensions and make sure that your sketch is fully defined, not underdefined. and use the smart dimensions to incorporate what is the correct dimensions before exiting the sketch to make it fully defined. Okay, then for chapter 2 is where we will be able to specify what feature types we will use and deciding where to start and using the extrude, boss, and cut feature, making changes in a feature. So there are several kinds of sketches. This is the boss, extrude, revolve, the whole wizard that we can use on one single sketch. As I've shown, we already discussed how to make rectangle, circle, and triangle using the boss extrude. And revolve is just you need a center line or axis from a profile. And sweep, you need a profile and a path. Okay, so in deciding where to start, sketching 3D, it's always necessary. If you have an actual model that you will sketch or model, you should always select where is the best or easiest way to document the part. So looking at this model, you could see that when you will sketch on the front plane, in sketching the part, it will take multiple commands to model it if you will use front plane, and same as well on the top plane. So the best option is to select the right plane in documenting, sketching this one. So if you want to sketch that one, just need to new, then select the front plane, then just make a circle here, rectangle, just making a, then control tangent. So use control on the keyboard to make relations. So make a tangent, then as discussed before, trim, then this one is the function of offset. So for example, make it little bit. So I'm just making a run through of what is the model because there's no dimension there. So we'll just control line and make it collinear. Could use insert here center line, then you use mirror, and it is to mirror, select this one, then mirror about, have your proper model. So just for the demonstration, I will not put the necessary dimensions, and then you will make it extrude, then specify that one, then automatically you have the model look alike, and you just make a sketch on this plane. So as you can see on the examples, you just need a slot here shown, then put use you we can now use the command extrude cut to cut it. Could use through all just to cut it all the way. So if you go back to the PDF, you already have this feature sketch. Then put some jumper at the corner. Then you have the similar sketch already. Okay, so so in this model, what is the plane that we will be using? Essentially, the easiest way is to maybe we could use the right plane and also the top plane. Could be either of the two. Okay, then extrude features again. We will be able to use extrude boss, so which is we'll already discuss. So we'll put sketch. So front plane. So make sure that your units is MMGS because the requirement is MGS. Then it will exit the sketch and we'll need to reopen the sketch once you change something. So just put 100 mm and 100 mm. Then extrude, since the requirement will be 10 mm as stated in the PDF, but the 10 mm is too small, so we have to change it to 50 mm. So what you could do, right click on the extrude boss, edit feature, 50 mm. Alright, then go to the normal 2, could use normal 2, so select to the plane, and we have to create a circle to make a cut extrude tab in the blind setting. So have to input 25 mm and cut it to 10 mm. So sketch, go to this one, select the plane, and since we don't started in the center, so I'll give you a technique. So smart dimension, put the dimension 25 mm. Automatically we could do center line here, and select the point of the circle, control on the keyboard, then you'll see make coincident and select make midpoint. So your circle is already at midpoint. And make a cutout as per the PDF should state 10 mm, so it will only dag out or make a cut extrude of 10 mm. But if you want to make it all the way through, so select through all. Alright, okay, so we can move on to chapter 3, sweep and revolve picture. So I just want to insert something in order to check if our material is correct or our drawing is correct. We'll specify a material. You could see specify here plain carbon steel or the other defaults which is already available. For example, could choose different kinds of here from steel, aluminum alloys, coppers, and woods. So just select the basic ASI 304. Then once we specify that, we go to evaluate. Then mass properties will be able to check the mass properties in grams, 3.8, 65 grams. So if you want it to be customized to one decimal, no decimal places, then we could also select the center of mass, which is 50, 50, and 25 in XYZ. So these data are, if you will take a SolidWorks sum, these are the usual answers that SolidWorks is requiring. Okay, then let's move to chapter 3, controlling swept pictures, trim tool, and revolve and swept combine. So for the example, you will be used a paper clip as an example. So let's open the part and do sketches. So in making a swept, we need a profile and a swept path in order to create this one, this paper clip. So as a general example, we will not start on the paper clip. We'll need to sketch 70 by 70 angle, sketch line, and do this one. So I will not run through essentially to what is the PDF will be asking us. So I'll just make it on my own, mmgs, start on front plane, then sketch, so sketch a line, so 70 by 70. So I'll make smart dimension 70. So your sketch is already defined. Then we have to make a fillet. As I know, there should be a fillet. Since there's a sharp angle, you need a fillet parameters 40 mm. So select 40 mm. then exit our sketch. And this is our path. So we need to create a profile, a circle. So in the PDF, it will state where will be your sketch line, so your plane. So you have to select where could you start, front, top, right. So the problem is you need to sketch in this side to make a sweep. So we have to use the reference geometry and create a plane on our own. So in creating a plane, you need only a point and a line, and you already have the sketch. Then let's go to here, normal 2, and select again normal 2 to go back in the right plane, then sketch. Then it's selected plane 1, the one that we have made. Then smart dimensions, what will be the dimensions? It's 10 mm. And you already have uh, your profile in creating a sweep. So let's go. Now we could make a sweep. So in making a sweep, we need a profile and a path. So profile, path. So as you can notice, it's too thin based on the manual because the diameter that we should use is actually 40 mm. So there's no problem. So we have to go open the profile, edit the dimension, and make it bigger. 40 mm. Then we have the actual part. So just put a temporary material, ABS PC or cast alloy steel. Then if you've been asked what will be the mass, put go to the evaluate mass properties, and the mass will be 1126.79 grams, and center of mass is 20, negative 20, negative 20, and Z axis 0. So if you've been on your exam on the SolidWorks, and if you change the material, so definitely the mass will be changed into 4000, so it's more heavier. Then if going to change the, the dimensions or the profile, so originally is 4000 grams, so change it to 10 grams. Then exit this, control B to reveal the parts, then mass properties, and definitely the mass will be reduced significantly to 26 grams. Okay, control Z. Let's go back to the original drawing that we need. So this is the concept of making a sweep. Okay, so now let's perform. So we have to remove and create a shell. Okay, so create a shell is 10 mm. Okay, let's go to the to make it a shell. So in making a shell, to make it hollow, just input this one. Let's select 10 mm, then select this one. And then sorry, and delete this one. Delete, delete, delete. Then shell, and it's already 10 mm here. And make a cross section. Oops, there's already the shell in here. Have a cutout. Alright. Now let's go in performing the paper clip. The paper clip is you need to sketch this one. So first is you make a path, and this one is the path, and this one is the profile. The profile is a circle only, wherein the diameter will be 2.5 mm. So this is the long format and doing this, and you just need to sketch this one as shown here. So just from this one, following this pattern, then we trim this unnecessary sketch file and make a paper clip. So new, then since the measurements is in millimeter, so let's go there. So stated in the PDF, uh, it started in this point, so let's create this line here. Let's just follow this one, then just make a circle. So in order to make it sketch faster, put the dimensions already, so 75 and 25. Then just make the pattern already, so 75, then make a line again, 110, smart dimension 110. So make sure it's tangent here, control line, line, circle, control tangent. Okay, so why is not defined, so make sure it's tangent also. So the line is already tangent and the circle. Then we'll put another circle here, 20 mm diameter. So let's project here. So smart dimension, control line, circle, tangent. Then propagate a line here, which is 80 mm. Smart dimension and circle. Put a circle here. So tangent, line. What is the diameter of the circle? 15. So smart dimension. As you can see, is already on line. Then put a line here up to this point. So line. So smart dimension horizontal. So it's already defined. So now we'll create a trim. Trim this one. Trim this one. And we have this one. We have already the profile for the paperclip. So now let's create. Now we have the path for the paperclip. Sorry. So this is the path. Rename this one path. Then sketch. So we cannot sketch in this area. So we have to create a plane, point, and a line. Then normal to sketch, circle. What's the profile of the circle? It's the dimension is 2.5. So we have already the profile. Rename profile. Then we could already make a sweep. Select the profile and the path. And we have the hide this one, hide the paper clip. Alright. And put the material, for example, 1060 alloy. And save paper clip. Okay. Then for the next example will be the revolve. which is we have this sketch pattern, which is now is new. For example, this is an IPS right now, front, and you have to model it. So notice that the origin is in this side. So 10, 25, 2.5. So line. So I'm just making a dummy simulation. So 10. So it's too far, no? So problem in doing this sketch is make it too far. Then 25. This one is only 2.5. This one is 50 mm, 50 inches, sorry. And this should be aligned. This one is 2.5. Then you have your sketch and making a revolve. Just select this one and select the axis of revolution. Could select mag, and if you change this, you could make a different model, and you have on one sketch you have different kinds of profile or 3D CAD you could use. Okay, so I think that's all for the chapter 3. Thank you for uh, watching my video simulations for 3D CAD modeling. See you on the next video.